So here I want to share an insight with you, which I was reminded of lately, and that is the difference between the feeling of timelessness on psychedelics and the timelessness that develops after you practice meditation, usually for a few years. And first I want to talk about what timelessness is like on a psychedelic. And usually, or for me, my kind of deepest or largest dose psychedelic trip is at least 5 years ago. And so whatever I remember has developed over time. And some people say you only need really one psychedelic trip if it's a really deep one in your life, and then you can kind of integrate it for the rest of your life. At least for these last 5 years, I've felt this to be true. Many times when I meditate, I get new insights and new memories, or memories that I have forgotten about, come up again from the trip, because it's so different from what you usually experience. I have felt I didn't remain many memories of that trip immediately afterwards. They kind of came back over time. And so what timeless time felt like on a trip is, imagine when you are focusing on the present moment. And if you have experienced psychedelics, you know the present moment on psychedelics can be very crazy. It's very chaotic. You experience many hallucinations, blending of your senses. And so when this goes on for some time, you really lose yourself, what you usually call yourself. Your true self obviously remains untouched by this, but your illusory self, which is the web of all these concepts and beliefs about yourself, and including the belief that you're a human being, that really goes out of the window. And in this very moment that you are experiencing, you are not able to conceive of any of these concepts. So when somebody is telling you during your trip, or you yourself think about it during your trip, what does it mean in 10 minutes? Or what does it mean in 1 hour? Or I'm tripping for 6 hours. These concepts, you might think the words, but they don't make any sense anymore, because the whole web of concepts that you are within which these information actually makes sense doesn't exist for you anymore. You cannot conceive of it. So you are really only experiencing the present moment. And so also your memory and your short-term memory is really impaired, what I found during these trips. And so one moment I might remember that I'm just tripping, and then it's the true experience in that moment. But then a few seconds later, I've already forgotten about it again, and I'm in some other experience again involved without the memory of what just happened. So the timelessness on psychedelics is really, you are in the moment, you see that there is no time outside of the now, which, if you have never experienced it, is a really radical shift in experience. And it gives you that knowledge afterwards that it really is so, even though all these concepts are back and you feel like the moment is kind of stuck between the past and the future. And this timelessness on psychedelics really comes from the craziness or the overwhelming experience that you are having, where you are not able to really think about what will be in 10 minutes. You are not able to plan and to see your present moment in a larger context. So the time might feel very, very, very long, because every moment is completely new and unexpected, unexperienced. And that's how it actually normally is, but we don't see it that way, because we see it embedded in a flow of events from the past to the future. And so what happens on the other side after years of meditation, and also during meditation, but especially when you implement all-day awareness, where you're not only sitting for 1 hour a day and meditating during that time, but you also extend your mindfulness throughout your whole day. Then what happens after some time is you become so grounded in the present moment that you rarely get lost in the concepts of past and future. It's not something that really makes you worry anymore, because you're very firmly grounded in this present moment. And from that, you have, after years of meditation, you get the ability to remain in this ever new present moment, but you still have the ability to plan, to conceptualize, of course, to think about where you will have to be in a few hours, or where you've been yesterday, where you will go next week, and so on. And this is a very different experience of timelessness than on psychedelics. It's a much calmer state. It's a much more reflected and sort of sustainable state. Whereas on psychedelics, you wouldn't be able to survive on this kind of radical timelessness, where there are also no concepts of time. And with meditation, you see the concepts as concepts while still remaining present with what is. And so this insight I was reminded of, and I have to credit the YouTube channel Hardcore Zen. I will link down below his channel. He's really has many great videos about Zen practice, Zazen, Buddhism, and he reminded me lately of this, how it felt like on a psychedelic trip. He's talking about it, where he had kind of like the same experience on LSD, where it was totally crazy, and he wouldn't recommend taking psychedelics. I'm not so sure about that. You should clearly make your own research before taking any substance. Psychedelics are interesting because on the one hand, I wouldn't wish my worst enemy such an experience. And on the other hand, it's the greatest experience you can imagine, because it gives you a huge opportunity for growth. It will give you deep, deep insights. And for me, honestly, I think I wouldn't have stuck to the path and to my meditation practice as consistently if I haven't had a deep psychedelic experience before. So in that regard, it's a very positive experience, but it's definitely very, very challenging if you are not prepared for it, and you can never really be prepared for it anyways. That's my insight for today. Let me know in the comments down below if you had some similar experiences with time, or what you think about this whole path towards timelessness, existence in the now, if you want to call it that. And see you in the next video.